When you come into diving, it will ask you if you want to use the start list. Click Yes if you have a diving event set up in your start list, or click No to manually set up diving. This is the diving screen. Before you begin, I should note that it is always a good idea to have someone writing the judges' scores onto the dive sheet as a backup to the computer operator. While the computer never does the math incorrectly, occasionally the person typing in the numbers makes a mistake. If you have a written backup, correcting these mistakes is very easy. The first thing you will need to do is check to make sure that the number of divers, dives, and judges are set correctly. We have 6 divers entered, so that's fine. A standard dual meet has 6 dives, but since we're practicing, I'm going to set it to 2. We'll use 3 judges, but you can set it from 2 up to 9 judges, depending on how your meet is being run. Diving is scored based on the NFHS rules for the numbers of judges. You can also preload the dive lists here if you have the time. Right-click on the diver's name and type the dive number into the box. Click Done when you're finished. You can preload the dives at any time. However, if you make a change to the start list after you have preloaded the dives, they will be wiped out when the new start list is loaded. Once you're sure everything is correct, click the Start button. You will see that the first diver in the list is highlighted in green, and their name and current round are listed at the top of the screen. As the announcer reads the first dive for the diver, you will need to type it into the dive number box, unless it is already preloaded, which this one was. Our first diver is doing a 101B, so all we have to do, since it was preloaded, is press Enter. And the DD and the dive description are already loaded there for you. When the judges display their scores, you can type them in. To enter a 4.0, you can either press 4 space or 4 enter. For a 4.5, you can either type 4.5 or 4.4. For a 3.5, you can type 3.3. Once you've entered the last score, press Enter again or click on the OK button to accept the scores and display them on the scoreboard. The green bar now moves to the next diver and the dive number field clears so that you can enter the dive. We didn't preload this one, so we'll have to type it in. She's doing a 103B. And you'll notice that the DD and the dive description are automatically filled in. This diver forgot what she was doing and performed the dive as a tuck, not a pike, and the judges gave her all zeros. You can either type zeros into the score boxes or click the Failed Dive button to fail the dive and move on to the next diver. The next diver is doing a 103C. The judges give her a 5, 5, and a 5.5. Oops, I mistyped that last dive number and just now realized it. To go back to the last diver, click Last Dive. This brings up the last diver's dive number and score so that you can make any corrections to either one. You can also correct the scores here. When you are finished, click OK to move to the next diver. Our next diver is doing a 105C. It was a good dive, but she seems to have hurt herself. The coach asks to withdraw her from the competition. Click the Stop button to stop diving. You can then go change her position to Off, so that the next time through the list she will not come up. This is the same way that you would handle a DQ. Once you've changed the position, click Start, and it will pick up right where you left off with the next diver in the list. This has been a pretty eventful diving event, so let's just skip ahead to the end. Okay, our last diver is performing her last dive, a 301B. Her scores are 4.5, 5, and 4. If you need to make any changes to the scores, click No when it asks, "Are you ready to score diving?" click on the total score for a diver, and here you can change the dive number, the DD, any of the judges' scores, and it will recalculate the score and change the total score. When you are finished with that diver, click Exit. You only have to single click on the total score to get that screen to appear. When you are finished making changes, click the Score button. Diving is the only event in Meetware that does not score automatically. You must click the Score button to send the information to GNet. You can go ahead and display your results on the scoreboard if you have that selected. Now let's take a look at bringing the times into Meet Manager.